So I wanted to make a video on this before I forget, because this is very important. The shadow banning thing, it's a very important concept because it's applicable across all arenas. Okay. If you use your imagination just a bit, apply it to text messages. Say you're having a conversation with somebody and something comes up, a bit of contention, a bit of some feelings are surfacing during this conversation. And if you imagine that it's like a tapestry that's being woven, right? Very complicated tapestry. Now, what shadow banning is doing is it's removing strategic threads to that conversation. And unbeknownst to the people, the two people who are communicating, or at least unbeknownst to one side. And if it's just to one side and the other side knows it's happening, then that's just pure manipulation by the other side. But if both parties don't know it's happening, then that's pure manipulation by the third party who's doing the shadow banning. Pure manipulation. That's just all there is to it. And as the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. Even if companies or individuals or whoever are instituting this in their practice, it's going to be abused. There's no other way about it. Especially in the realm, that's what happens. So because as humans, we're already distrustful enough of everyone and everything around us. We need locks on everything. We need locks on our identities. We need locks on everything. We need to protect these personal possessions of ours. And if you extend the sort of manipulation into the very subtle, nuanced communications between beings, where both sides are subjective, okay, that's a slippery slope that you're treading there. Very slippery. And that's why I asked that this Reddit guy about the legality, even though going into legal terms is an inefficient way to look at it. That's why I was asking him about the legality of it, because I would assume that if you're joining a group in order to discuss things, it must be implied that what you're saying is getting heard by everybody, or at least the best attempts are made so that can happen. And if that is not happening, then you are being notified immediately by the company that that's not happening. That seems correct to me. Shadow banning seems extremely nefarious. Not completely. I can see why. I can see the benefits of it, the possible benefits of it. And of course, if you're of a mind that's suspicious anyway, then you're going to create the idea of shadow banning anyway, even if it didn't exist in your reality. So, of course, as always, there's a larger lesson to be learned here. And it goes back to, as well, comparing these communications via the internet versus a face-to-face conversation with somebody. These things aren't able to be hidden so easily when you're talking with somebody face-to-face. When you're talking online, you have no clue who you're talking to, what you're talking to. Now, whether or not, they're getting what you're saying, and vice versa. So the shadow banning thing, to me, while it might be a positive hedge against the chat bots, and like he said, just people being ugly or being mean, while it might be a hedge against those things, it's still manipulative at the core. It's very manipulative at the core, and sneaky. It's sly. Just the name, shadow banning. It's a sly thing. It's like snitching or something. It's the opposite of being honest. But we're all jaded here. We've all been through our respective ringers, so I don't necessarily blame these companies or these people, companies. I don't blame the people for wanting something to act as a blocker, but it feels deep. Like this, the shadow banning thing feels deep to me. Kind of strikes a nerve. So more to come.